Hello class! Today we are going to have a special lesson on DC Universe Classics wave number 12, Copperhead. So we'll take a quick look here at the packaging. We can see all these other guys, dudes on the side. And over here, I'm pretty sure all these are characters who've become figures in various waves. There we've got Darkseid, who is the Collect and Connect figure for this wave. You can see some bits in there somewhere. Once again, it's for the adult collector. We don't want to choke on this stuff because it's if you're under 3 years, this could kill you, which I still call natural selection. At any rate, there we go on the back. We can see some of the other figures from the wave. Eclipso, Spectre, Copperhead, Dr. Midnight. I still haven't figured out why it's spelled like that. Desaad, Mary Batson, and Iron. And then all these dudes, with the exception of this jerk here, comes with a piece to build Darkseid, which is what we want to do because he's awesome. Most of the rest of these guys, I don't care about that much. But Darkseid is wicked, so we want to build him. So there's a picture of Copperhead right by his biography, which we'll have a quick look at. Mysterious and menacing, the man known only as Copperhead first emerged in Gotham City, carrying out a series of incredible thefts. When confronted, his poison fangs and constrictor coils were enough to defeat most opponents. So they must have been like, you know, the GCPD, who are all more or less useless except for, like, Jim Gordon. Copperhead increases powers by striking a deal with the demonic Neuron, becoming a truly monstrous man-snake hybrid. In this horrific new form, he took on more lethal assignments as a super assassin. His ghastly power and inhuman abilities make him one of the world's most frightening villains. First showed up in Brave and the Bold, 1968, so he's a geezer too. Real name is unknown. Occupation, professional criminal. How would you love to put that on your resume? His special abilities, Supreme Contortionist. But the ladies love that. And Constrictor and Poisonous Bite. So there you go. So I think that's a look at the packaging for Copperhead. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this thing up, and we'll have a closer look at Mr. McHappy Pants here. So we'll be back in a second. And we're back. We've gotten Copperhead out of his packaging, and we can have a look at him in his Viagra worked for me pose. We'll look closer at his face in a second, but I just can't take the figure seriously because of his face. It's got a she's not pregnant look to it. So, anyways, just a quick 360. I'm going to be making probably at least one, maybe two more of those inappropriate jokes. Can't help it. But there he is. I don't know a whole lot about this character, which I say about a lot of these figures. Really, all I know is what I saw in Justice League, where he was a third-rate villain who got his ass whipped because he had no real special powers at all. He did bite Batman once, and that pissed Batman off. And then he got his ass whipped by somebody else. I don't know, he's a third stringer, and you know how we know that? Because he got his powers upgraded by that Neuron guy, moron guy, that demon, and any of the characters, as I understood it, who got their powers upgraded by that demon, they all sucked. And I don't think they've stopped sucking, it's just they had better powers for a little while. At any rate, let's not talk about him anymore. First, you know, the color scheme. Well, I mean, yep, bright orange. He's kind of the color of a traffic cone with green accents. I don't know who would have chose that. He's kind of like, he's got kind of an Aquaman look, except that maybe his legs, all of his legs need to be green, or Man-at-Arms from He-Man. And then the scales for his neck and then forming the top of the head, that's a slightly different orange color as well. More impressive than the colors, which are kind of scary, since we're using two secondary colors here, is the sculpt. Now, for a lot of it, you know what, same thing as we keep saying about these, it's a standard DCUC mold. The legs, the arms, the same. The only thing that's really different is the head. But, except for the fact that, once again, he's one of those guys who wears his underwear on the outside, and he's got the boots and the gloves. They've put the scales texture for his whole body, except for the green bits. It's all scaled, and it's all been carved into the mold, and that is actually pretty cool. I do like that. They didn't cheap out and just try to draw it on or something crappy like that. It is nice that they spent the time and the effort to actually put all the scales on. That is actually very cool. Most of the rest of the sculpt, as I said, it's a standard DCUC figure. But if we start here, we've got this extra piece on his neck, and it is actually an extra piece. We can lift that up a little bit. It's, what, like a dickie? He's wearing a dickie, except on the outside. He's evil. And then the head, actually, to me, the head is probably the most interesting part, and it's also what makes it so laughable. But we can see the snake head. It looks really, really good. And again, scales all the way around. We can see where it looks like there's a top piece glued onto the head, and then I think there's actually two separate pieces. If I really wanted to, I could probably pry this off, but I'd probably just break it. But for me, the best part of this figure, and it just makes him so funny, so you can get a little bit of light on him, is the look on his face. Now, I think it's supposed to be he's evil or he's insane or something along those lines, but he's just got this look of, hey, all the tests came back negative except for herpes. Yes! You know, he's that kind of happy. You just don't see that many villains with that kind of happy. Like, you know, I really wish he had a thumbs up kind of thing, because he could be like, that's right, Pepto worked for me. Like, he's got just all those looks, and it's just so awesome. I used to be constipated, but then I got a Roto-Rooter. Constipated no longer. Yeah! I just can't help it. His face is so goofy. Look at it. I don't know, it just begs all these bad jokes about things either going in or out of his butt. And I just can't help it. He just looks so happy for no real good reason. Yeah! Look at me! I wear my underpants on the outside. I don't know, I just can't help it. He's goofy, and you know what, I'm starting to like this figure a lot more because it's really just for all the inappropriate jokes I can make about it. I'm just trying to think of a few more, but I think I've exhausted most of my good ones. At any rate, if it wasn't just for the fact that he's goofy, and he's always going to be posed like that with his arms above his head, cheering for something horrible like, I ate some cheese and I didn't fart, you know, he's going to have that kind of look the whole time because I like it. There is another reason we could buy this figure. Even if it wasn't for the fact that I like Copperhead a lot more now than I used to, just because it's awesome. He does come with a couple pieces of Darkseid, which for me was the main reason to buy most of this wave, because honestly I think most of the characters are forgettable. I mean, as awesome as this Copperhead figure is turning out to be, he's really an 8th string figure. Maybe he's just happy he got a figure, because, you know, he's kind of weak. Anyways, he has the honor of coming with the crotch of Darkseid. And we can see it's bigger than your average crotch. And on the back, how happy is that? China. He's got China tattooed on his ass. Ha ha. Now, the head, you know what? He's got China tattooed on his ass too. Oh, everybody loves Joni. Anyways, the head itself, which is kind of disembodied floaty head thing, the sculpt on it is really good. Now we'll look at this more when we put together Darkseid, but there's one thing I want to point out, which I'll probably have to mention again because I've forgotten that I mentioned it already, is that the head seems to be different than a lot of the other collect and connect, I almost said Build-A-Figure, heads, in that it has the peg. Usually, at least from the ones that I've put together, you've got the head and it gets pegged onto the neck. Well, this one, the head has the peg, which will go into some hole on top of his chest or something somewhere. But it looks pretty good, and so it's nice to see Darkseid's head, because eventually we'll put together the whole thing, and he's going to be awesome. And if that wasn't enough to make you buy Super Captain I'm Excited Dude, we get this collector's button, or pin. And I don't know how well we can pick it up there on the camera, but there's bats, and then there's these hands that are coming for him. And it looks like actually it's a reflection because you can see some pants and some hands going for the back of his head. And I have this feeling it's supposed to be Copperhead. Maybe it's the cover from his introductory issue, because he does operate in Gotham, which means he's run afoul of the Bat on numerous occasions, and probably got his ass whipped because he has no powers besides, you know, horribly bad breath and constrictor coils or some nonsense. Anyways, I think that's what it's supposed to be. These I think are stupid. I'm just going to put it out there. Unless you collect buttons, which case I guess they're awesome. The Evil Professor does not collect buttons. I'll probably lose this at some point, or I'll try to anyway. So, that I think is our look at Copperhead. If I had to give this figure a grade, oh my goodness, you know what? It's horrible. He's a third-rate character. He's not really that good. But you know what? The figure isn't bad, all things considered. I love the scales, and the look on his face is priceless. You know, night out on the town, or sorry, going to the movie, $25. Dinner at a reasonable restaurant, we'll say another 50. Finding out the next morning that it was in fact a woman, priceless. This kind of thing, and it's awesome, and I just never get tired of it. For that reason alone, he gets an A-. A- for Copperhead. Third-rate villain, awesome, awesome comedic value. So that's why he gets that. Run out and buy this figure. You can make all sorts of inappropriate jokes about him as well. You can see right up his nose here, too. I got that booger! Fear me! Yeah, I know, I can't help it. Anyways, sorry, at any rate, I think that is our look at Copperhead. I'm going to see if I can think of any more jokes about him because it's hilarious. And you can too. And you know what? In the comment section, if you got some other good jokes about the way he looks, please feel free to share them. Let's just not get ourselves in too much trouble. At any rate, have a good night. Class is dismissed. Not pregnant!